Hello everyone, hello all, Truth Dog, back at it with another crazy video. How does my hair look? Just had a shower, so it's a little bit flat and heat damaged, but I'll get into that. The topic today is the importance of hair. This is one that I've wanted to do for a long time. So you can see I've got my patented set of notes in no particular order, although it probably would help to put this in some kind of sensible order. But oh well, we're just going to freestyle it, and see how it goes. Okay, so first and foremost, what I've written here is that your hair is your spiritual antenna. This is something I believe. I wouldn't have written it down if I didn't believe so. I believe it's where you receive part of how you receive your information downloads, like how in old analog TV sets they used to have like those, the rabbit ears. It's kind of like that, So your hair is kind of what helps you pick up the information around you, and you're receiving an information download when you get the ringing in your right ear. You can also get the ringing in your left ear. I believe the ringing in the left is bad, right is good. Left means that someone is stealing information, right means that you are receiving information, or left also could mean that someone is talking ill of you, whereas right would mean that someone is saying nice things about you. Native Americans used to have long hair. It was actually very common for men back in the old times to have long hair. Of course, the classic example is Jesus Christ himself. Jesus H. Christ. What does the H stand for? So he had long hair, and he was pretty woke. And so what I'm trying to say is it's a good thing to have long hair. Of course, my hair has been longer, but I had to get it cut because I wasn't taking care of my hair. I didn't, like, as a guy, I never really had long hair, so I didn't have any idea about that you had to maintain it, you had to take care of it. Like, I didn't know that you could burn it by having hot showers, because I always have hot showers. I know that people say that you should have cold showers because it keeps away the urges, you know what I mean? But and maybe I could use some cold showers, but I friggin' hate cold showers, so I've always had hot showers. Yeah, so I damaged my hair with all that stuff, and also the sun, because you know how the sun used to be like a yellow, it used to be yellow or orange, and now it's just like white. It's like one of those freaking annoying fluorescent lights. Those things are the worst. I got those in my house. A stupid reptilian electrician put all the lights in this house, and you can't even take them out because they last forever. They're like installed like permanently. You can't replace them with any other bulb. It's pretty terrible. So I just tend to not have the lights on as much as possible. The lights are off, but somebody is home. What does this say? Cutting your hair. Oh yeah. So not to get too ahead of myself. Did I even explain what I'm saying? So yeah, I encourage like everyone to grow their hair out. That's like their personal identity. As I said, it's like a spiritual antenna, man. And like how hippies, were, I guess, associated with being, spiritual. The long hair. It helps you realize things. It helps you know yourself. It's a good thing. It's a good thing. That's why in society, which I'll get to, they encourage you to cut it off, and that's not the way. But I actually used to have a problem with cutting my own hair. I used to be addicted to it. You know how like most people are. Well, not most people, but some people they like to cut themselves. You know what I mean? I've never been into that, but I used to like take out my whatever it is. Bad feelings on myself by cutting my own hair, you know what I mean? It's like self-mutilation. And I had a problem with it for years, literally years. This is even after I sort of, started becoming more spiritual. I'd just like keep shaving my head over and over and over. If it grew a little bit, I'd do it. And I think that might have had something to do with like demonic influence. I'm not going to say possession exactly, but definitely some kind of like demonic interference. Like little devil on your shoulder whispering, cut your hair, Truth Dog, cut your hair, you want to, you know what I mean? It'll make you feel better, Truth Dog, So, I used to have a problem with that, not anymore. I do intend to grow my hair out completely, as it used to be. I want to grow it as long as possible. It's just I've had to keep having trims because like I said, I damaged the shit out of it the first go round. But anyway, I'll stop going on about that. And back, I believe, as you know, I promise I won't cry in this video, although maybe I will, stay tuned to find out. I did my best videos when I had long hair, so there's another point to the long hair thing. But as I said, society makes people cut their hair, and one way that they trap people in this cycle of always getting their hair cut is they always have that, there's always like the trendy new haircut, which I've talked about before, how psychopaths, one way to tell a psychopath is they're very status quo, or even organic portals, narcissists, that they just always have the flavor of the moment haircut. The reason that that society is always putting these haircuts out, there's always like something in vogue, something in fashion, the way to look, is just to encourage people to stay in that cycle of, self-abuse, cutting your hair, which is, I keep trying to tell you, is a bad idea. What are they going to say about that? And coloring your hair is also bad, it damages your hair, as does heat. I did actually have something to say about that cutting your hair thing. Cutting your hair, society always makes it. Oh yeah, and people I've never really fallen into that trap. Even when I had normal haircuts, I just sort of get it cut so it sort of matches, complements my face as much as possible. Although, as a kid, as children, I think we all were at the mercy of our parents. I was one of those kids with a bowl cut, until I was 7 or something. That was big in the 80s, early 90s, just effing terrible. But as I said, if you fall into that trap of getting, the trendy new do, you're always going to look like an idiot. In retrospect, how people are always looking. The funny thing about people, how they lack self-awareness, is they'll look back at their haircut from 10, 20 years ago or whatever and be like, geez, what was I thinking? Meanwhile, in that very moment, they've got the flavor of the minute haircut that in 10, 20 years time, they'll be looking back at that moment and saying, geez, what I was thinking. So what was I thinking? So it's always best to just have your natural hair. Oh yeah, so another thing, with long hair, of course, the worst, what do you call them? Just whatever, the military, police, they always encourage people to cut their hair. The military is obviously the worst offender, where they literally shave you bald like a newborn baby, you know what I mean? And that, what it does is, when you don't have long hair gives you individuality. Short hair, no individuality. You become subservient, you become like a little bitch. So that's why they shave your hair, so that you fall in line and you're like, sir, yes sir, you do as you're told. You don't lead by example. You become a soldier, a pawn, you know what I mean? Like I said, you don't see cops as well, short hair. Obviously, you could make the argument, well, if they had long hair, it could get in their eyes when they're trying to, fucking murder people, and that's not a good thing anyway. But, they make that argument, but I'm sure there's ways to keep the hair out of your eyes. But you never see a police officer with long hair, and of course, police are associated with Freemasonry, which is just bullshit. A lot of the haircuts, I think, a way to spot a Freemason is to see if they've got the current hairstyle. Don't know exactly why that is, but probably has something to do with psychopaths. Lesbians, now I don't want to be too controversial here, but as you notice, lesbians tend to have shorter haircuts. That's the stereotype. They try to make themselves look like little boys, not consciously, but I think that most people, okay, I don't want to say most, but I do believe that a lot of people who are gay have suffered some kind of traumatic sexual abuse, and I do believe there is some form of disassociation that comes into play, and basically they lose part of their identity, and therefore they lose their identity, they lose their authenticity, and that's associated with who they are, which is their hair, which grows naturally. That's just something I want to say. Hopefully I don't offend too many people. It is something I want to elaborate on in the future, but I know with how PC society is, that could literally get me cancelled, and I have nothing against gay people, I know that people say it, but some of my best friends have been gay. Literally people I've been very, very close with have been gay. I don't hold anything against anybody for that. I'm just It's just an observation. On that topic, I also noticed that older women, and no one's going to have any problem with me dissing these, older women. I notice older women tend to have the shorter hairstyles too. In my opinion, not particularly attractive. I like women to look like women. I know that sounds old-fashioned. Something that would probably get me cancelled, but oh well, that's my truth. They tend to have the shorter haircut, and I also notice that older women as they grow older, they tend to get like wide shoulders, and like really like, you know, like from the back they look like football players. You know what I mean? And it's very strange because you might think, oh well, you know, that's just, you know, her natural build, but then you see the woman with a daughter, and the daughter's got a normal like slender feminine, you know, frame, but the mum's like, you know, like that. So I don't know what that is. I think it might have something to do with hormones that they put in milk and meat, which you shouldn't be eating. But again, controversial opinion. Somehow I've found when I talk about like promoting veganism, I have a harder time having convincing people that that's right than it is to convince people that the world is run by reptilian shapeshifters. There's something fucking wrong there. That is insane. But anyway, a topic for another time. We're getting to the end of this, don't worry. Oh yeah, and I noticed bands, you know, like I like a lot of sort of heavy music, rock music, and pretty much all of my favorite bands, they did their best music when they had long hair. And, you know, of course, you get, you know, information download, that's your inspiration creatively too. So like bands like Metallica, Pearl Jam, Nirvana, a lot of the grunge bands, a lot of the metal bands, even Green Day, like a band like Green Day, before they made Dookie, Billy Joe had long hair, and I know that he wrote a lot of those songs on Dookie, and maybe even Insomniac, and also Nimrod, like just like until they were like their best albums. Back when he had long hair, Kurt Cobain before Nevermind and In Utero, he had like really long hair too. And like I said, Metallica, in the 80s, fucking they all had long hair, and they were like unbeatable. And then like in the 90s they started to cut their hair, and yeah, they just like their music wasn't quite as good, wasn't quite as inspired. So I definitely think there's something to that. And I have like a little conspiracy theory that the record company, if maybe they don't contractually like obligate or force a band to cut their hair, but I definitely think that they encourage or pressure a band to cut their hair, because, you know, people look up to these famous people, they idolize them, and they want to look like them. What's going on? Is that a shadow? It's just, of course I have bad hair in a video where I'm talking about hair. Oh well. You know, they have long hair, and so people are going to want to look like them. So, you know, people will grow their hair out to be, you know, like, I'm like James Hetfield, man. So the record company, knowing, you know, being run by the Illuminati, would have a vested interest in making sure that these bands are not leading by example with their hairstyle, you know what I mean? And yeah, so I believe that some way, one way or another, these bands get in their idea to cut their hair. So we're getting to the end there. Another artist who I've discovered recently, who's not really, you know, like heavy metal or anything close, Maggie Rogers, she talked about how she cuts her hair because she feels like there's a lot of memory and information that's stored in her hair. And like when she cut her hair, it's kind of like starting over, becoming free. And I noticed that women, when they're experiencing bad relationships, or when they break up and move out of a relationship, they like to cut their hair. So there's definitely something to that. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably leave it there. I got some other stuff about how I used to, because I'm like a pretty hairy dude, in case you haven't noticed. I mean, I am a dog. But in high school, like, okay, I'll say one thing. When I hit puberty at like, I know this is TMI, but oh well. If you made it this far, this is your punishment. I hit puberty at a pretty young age for a guy, around 11 or 12. I was like, hit it before like anyone else in my grade. Probably not the girls. I do understand that girls, for whatever reason, hit puberty earlier than boys. But I felt shit. Like, I don't understand how most guys say, like, I wish I could grow a beard. You know, in high school, I wish I could grow a mustache. It was hell for me. I could grow a beard by the time I was 12 or 13, like a full beard, and I shave myself every day, and I'd come to school with my face completely blood red every single day in like 5 o'clock shadow, because it's like I lost my childhood, and I didn't feel like a kid anymore, and it really sucked for me personally. I mean, a bit of a sob story, but hey, you know, I'm the guy that fucking cries on camera. But anyway, what I'm trying to say is like, I'd have hairy arms and like shave my arms. I just want to warn people, especially any young people watching, don't do that. Don't shave your arms. It grows back like ingrown hair, and it's like really gross and unnatural looking. So don't shave your arms, don't shave your legs, unless you're a girl, in which case you should do it every single day. Otherwise it's disgusting. And shave your pits too, please. I mean, come on. What are you trying to make me sick? It's probably good to have armpit hair too. I mean, it's self-cleaning or whatever. And asshole hair, you know, like in porn, how it's like all anal infested, and like, you know what I mean? How like, you know, like wax your asshole. That's really disgusting. Anyway, so yeah, strong finish there. So be proud of your hair is what I've written at the end there. And oh yeah, don't straighten your hair either. If you have curly hair, that's good. I notice in the entertainment industry, women especially aren't allowed to have curly hair. I think it's pretty. I think, you know, whatever. Be proud of whatever you've got. Grow it out. That's it. That's all my notes. Hope you enjoyed this one. Hope you learned a whole lot. Don't forget to smash that like button, hit the subscribe, ring the bell, because apparently people aren't being notified, and oh well, maybe I'll CGI my hair, you know. But yeah, grow your hair. It's good for you. Okay. Have a good one. Truth Dog out. Woof!